welcome to your favourite teacher. Today we're looking at English language. This is a biggie, so pay close attention and make sure you've downloaded our sources so you can follow as we go. Of your entire language paper 1, half the marks are rewarded in the reading section, responding to the source text given in questions 1 through 4. And the second half are given in a single separate writing section. Question 3, the structure question, comes next, worth 8 marks, just like question 2. And just like question 2, we're going to aim to spend about 10 minutes on this one. At this point in the paper, you're asked to think about the whole of the source. In most cases, you are told this text is taken from the beginning of a novel, a detail which shouldn't be left forgotten and that we'll discuss later on. But then, most baffling of all, the wording never changes. The question, how is the text structured to interest you as a reader? In this video, we'll go over the main goal and requirements of question 3 and how to analyse their choices in your own written answers. To begin, let's look at the first half of the question. How is the text structured? Forget about whether or not you're interested for a minute. What does the question mean when it asks you to look at the structure of a text? Structure can refer to a range of things, the whole text, paragraph, and sentence-level decisions that the author makes. Imagine, before the author begins writing their story, they already know what they want to happen. What's left is to decide what order the story is told in and how events, conflict, and information is delivered to the reader. The decisions they make fall into those broad categories: whole text, paragraph, and sentence. Notice right away that word-level choices is not a category, so paying attention to the effects of individual words generally should be avoided. Whole text decisions refers to 3 simple things: beginnings, endings, and perspective shifts. Where does the text begin? Where does the text end? What significant differences are there between these 2 points in time, and how did this difference come about? Paragraph level decisions refer to where and how topics might change in the text, or how ideas are carried over from one paragraph to the next. Is there a clear shift from paragraph to paragraph? What is consistent across all the paragraphs? Is there anything which causes new paragraphs to begin and introduce new topics? Sentence-level decisions are the kind of sentences the author chooses to write, but should be one of the last and least important structural choices you want to refer to in your analysis. Are there any sudden, short, gripping sentences? Are there any long, slowly unravelling sentences which add to the tension in the text? These are the sorts of questions you'll have to ask yourself as you read through the text as a whole. Ultimately, your ability to analyse structure is assessed very similarly to your ability to analyse language. Just make sure that you A. present a clear idea about the author's structure, a point. B. give some form of evidence to back up that idea. C. explain why it is you think the structure is effective and what it causes the reader to think or feel. This is where that second part of the question, about how the text interests you as a reader, comes into play. The word interest should remind you to consider the effects of any choices you see the author making in their piece. So, if the goal of question 3 is to get you thinking about larger whole text choices the author might have made, what are the requirements? Well, we've already mentioned that the requirements of the question are very similar to question 2 on language paper 1, the language question. In terms of writing your answer, the most important part is for you to talk about the effect of any choices authors make. Like we said before, focus on the whole text, paragraph and sentence level choices which you think have been made for a particular reason. Not sure what kind of choices to analyse? Here's a few solid questions to consider as you read through the text. Number 1. What is the writer focusing my attention on at the start? Number 2. How is this focus made clear for the readers? Number 3. Why might the author want to focus on this at the beginning? Number 4. After the beginning, what about the focus changes or develops? Number 5. How is this focus changed or developed? Number 6. Are there any significant changes or developments in the paragraphs or sentences so far? Number 7. Why might the author have focused on these changes or developments? Number 8. What is meaningful or important about these changes? Number 9. By the end, how has the text changed? Number 10. Why might the writer have caused this change to occur? In your writing, you are then required to be able to be concise, brief but specific in answering these questions. Notice how the questions always follow the pattern of what, how, and then why. Remembering and answering these questions in this pattern through your paragraphs will help make it clear you knew how the choices the author made affected the reader. To look at how to write these concise explanations, we're going to use the extract City of the Beasts. We'll start by writing that what and how and why sequences of questions and then put our ideas into written answers. For more on how to analyse, annotate and develop your ideas about structure, we have a second video on analysing structure more generally, which will be helpful. Now though, those first 3 questions. What is the writer focusing my attention on at the start of the text? How is this focus made clear for the readers? Why might the author want to focus on this at the beginning? As we read the